Hey guys, I'm Twan and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the final section of my class guide series, and today we'll be covering the Scout class. Even though I'm doing it last, the Scout class is one of my favorite classes to play, right behind the Support class. Oftentimes, if I'm struggling with other classes, I'll fall back to the Scout class to get back in the groove because I consistently do well with it. So without further ado, let's get into picking a primary. Primary selection for the Scout class is markedly different than the other classes. There are two play types for the Scout class, aggressive and then what I would call classic. For aggressive Scout players, you want to use the infantry or carbine variants of the snipers so you can quickly snap to multiple targets in close proximity. For this, you want to take something that can fire quickly and has a good reload time. This is one of the reasons the Gewehr .95 is so popular, because it fires extremely fast and has an excellent reload time. Other snipers that perform well as aggressive snipers are the SMLE and the Martini Henry. The Martini Henry requires a decent amount of skill for long streaks, but I honestly think it's the most fun gun in the game to play with if you know how to use it. Secondly, let's take a look at how to choose a gun for classic sniping. This gets a bit more complicated. When I say classic sniping, I mean choosing a spot out at a distance to shoot from, what you would primarily think of when you think of a sniper. Selection of a sniper in this case depends entirely on the distance you will be shooting from. Most of the snipers have a certain range in which they do 100% damage. Before and after this range mark, damage is reduced. All the guns have their ranges listed in the selection screen, but it can be difficult to choose one if you don't know how to use the graph it shows. To figure out which gun best suits your playstyle, play a game in which you snipe at enemies on an objective. Shoot from a distance that you feel most comfortable at, and then observe the distance that the game tells you the objective is at. This will give you the exact distance that you're comfortable shooting at and can tell you what sniper you want to use. So once you've got your distance number, go back to the selection screen and look at snipers with ranges that cover this distance. For instance, if I like shooting enemies from, say, 40 to 60 meters away, maybe the Gewehr 98 is my best option. Medium ranges, the SMLE does well, and at longest ranges, the Springfield is the best. One thing to factor into classic sniping is scope glint. A lot of times, I still long-range snipe with infantry rifles because I hate the idea of exposing myself. It's a little different at first, but once you get the hang of it, you can really be an invisible killer. If you want to keep a scope on your gun, make sure that you only aim down sights every once in a while. If you hold it down, it's more likely that you're going to get spotted by an enemy. Next, let's take a look at secondaries. Secondary choice is super important for snipers because in most close range encounters they are absolutely necessary. For instance, with the Martini Henry, most close range encounters will require a seamless follow-up with a pistol to get the kill because it doesn't do full damage at point blank. For this, I really love the Frommerstopp. It has the highest rate of fire for a pistol, so I can rally off shots to quickly get the one hit I need to finish the kill. It's also stable enough so I can confidently and consistently take down enemies from 100% health. The Frommerstopp is worth a try, but overall, as I've said in other videos, it really comes down to what you're most comfortable with. You want to take whatever gun you can consistently land as many hits as possible, because with the Scout class, every hit you miss is harder to make a comeback from, at least comparatively with other classes. The only thing I wouldn't recommend doing is taking a secondary with slow rates of fire like a revolver, and in some cases the Mars automatic. Yes, they do high rates of damage, but if you look at damage over time, it's actually less than if you were to take a quicker firing, lesser damaging pistol. Now let's take a look at gadgets. There's one gadget that I feel is essential when you play the Scout class to support your team. It can be more difficult to support your team as a Scout, so I feel it's super important to always take the flare gun with you. The flare gun is insanely effective when attacking an objective because the added information of knowing where every player is makes it possible to mount the most effective attack possible. From time to time, you can also get a random kill with the flare because they cause fire damage. The second gadget I like to take is the incendiary tripwire bomb. This is for the times that I have a nice sniper's nest set up and I want to prevent anyone from coming behind me. I suppose the high explosive variant would be just as effective in this scenario as well. The other gadgets that are available to you in the Scout class I find to be kind of pointless. For instance, the sniper shield gives your position away, and I personally find it pretty easy to shoot through its hole, which is almost always an instant headshot. It's for this reason that I specifically look for people to use this because it's an easy kill pretty much every time. K-bullets are also relatively pointless because they only do about 5 damage to tanks, so unless you can catch a tank at the perfect moment, they're a waste of time. So I think if you're looking to be a team player and protect your position, the spot flare and the tripwire bomb are the way to go. Now let's cover the most important part, tactics. First, for classic sniping, the most important thing I think is cover. At long ranges, if you're not behind cover, you can easily be spotted because the grass doesn't have the same effect it does at close range. So once you find adequate cover, you want to aim down your sights in bursts to avoid scope glint. Unless you have a carbine or infantry variant, then you can aim all day. The next step is to spot literally every enemy you see move. You can't kill them all, but you can let your teammates know where they are so they can deal with them. The next thing you want to do is be selective with your shots. Too many shots, hits, or misses will quickly reveal your position. Along with this, after 5 or 6 shots, it's a good idea to relocate. This is because 1, you may have been spotted by an enemy, or 2, someone you killed will try to come back and flank you for revenge. For aggressive sniping, some key things change. One thing that remains the same is that you still want to spot literally everyone you can. In fact, this is a good habit to get into regardless of what class you're playing as because it only helps your teammates. So, if you want to be an aggressive sniper, the flanks are your friends. The flanks are poorly defended so you can easily kill the one person who may be there or sneak around. This allows you to get behind the enemy lines and harass them for a little while before relocating. Situational awareness is so much more important because you'll be a lot closer to the enemy. If you decide that you want to attack the enemy head on or storm an objective either with your team or by yourself, both of which are plausible in their own right, it's best to shoot a spot flare into the objective. You can be very tactical if you know exactly where the enemies are. Also, be ready to follow up quickly with a pistol if you storm, because the rifles won't do full damage at that range. Guys, so that's all I have for you today on how to use a scout class effectively. This actually concludes my series of guides for the Battlefield classes. If you haven't seen the other videos, I would definitely recommend checking them out because there's some really useful information in them. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, that always helps. Also, if you agree with me or think I overlooked something or got something wrong, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. With all that said, I'm Twan, thanks for watching my video, and enjoy the rest of this gameplay.
We need to deliver one more pigeon. A pigeon has been located.